Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle was once seen as one of the most likely candidates to become the next pope. Many people around the world admired him. He was often described as a humble, warm, and intelligent leader who could connect with people from all walks of life. His smile, his gentle way of speaking, and his deep concern for the poor and the forgotten made him stand out, not just in the Philippines where he was born, but in the global Catholic community. Many believed he had everything the Church needed in a future pope: deep faith, humility, charisma, a strong theological background, and a heart for service. So, when a new pope was being chosen, people were surprised he was not elected. It raised the question, why didn't Cardinal Tagle become pope? The reasons are more complex than they may seem at first glance. To understand why Cardinal Tagle didn't become pope, we need to understand how popes are chosen. The process is not like a political election where people run campaigns. It is a very secretive and prayerful event called a conclave. Only cardinals, under the age of 80, can vote, and they gather in the Sistine Chapel in Rome to pray, discuss, and eventually vote for the next leader of the Catholic Church. The decision is supposed to be guided not just by logic or preference, but by the Holy Spirit. Still, human decisions and real-world factors play a part. Many things go into the decision: church politics, global balance, theological views, age, experience, and the overall needs of the Church at the time. Cardinal Tagle had many strengths. Born in Manila in 1957, he was raised in a devout Catholic family. His father was of Tagalog Chinese descent, and his mother was a native Filipina. From an early age, he was drawn to the Church. He entered the seminary and was ordained as a priest in 1982. He continued his studies in the United States and earned a doctorate in theology. Over the years, he gained a reputation as a thoughtful, compassionate, and deeply spiritual leader. In 2011, he became the Archbishop of Manila, and in 2012, he was named a cardinal by Pope Benedict XVI. His rise was quick, and many saw him as a future pope, a symbol of the Church's growing presence in Asia. In 2019, Pope Francis gave him an even more powerful role by naming him the prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples. This Vatican office is responsible for missionary work around the world. It gave Cardinal Tagle a global platform and a place in the heart of Vatican leadership. He was no longer just a beloved leader from Asia. He was now someone with real influence in the Church's central government. His speeches, his writings, and his actions showed that he had a deep understanding of global issues. He often spoke about poverty, migration, inequality, and the need for the Church to listen more and judge less. With all these qualities, many believed the time had come for a pope from Asia. The Catholic Church was growing fast in the global south, especially in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Meanwhile, the Church in Europe and North America was facing challenges like declining church attendance, growing secularism, and painful scandals involving abuse. Tagle's gentle style and deep faith seemed perfect for guiding the Church through such times. So why wasn't he chosen? One major reason lies in church politics and power structures. Even though the Church is global, its leadership has long been centered in Europe, especially Italy. Most popes in history have been European. The election of Pope Francis in 2013, the first Latin American pope, was a big shift, but it did not fully change the balance of power in the Vatican. European cardinals still form a powerful voting bloc. They are used to certain traditions and ways of thinking. Many of them also prefer candidates who are familiar with the inner workings of the Vatican, people they know well and trust. Even though Cardinal Tagle had a high-ranking position in the Vatican, he was still seen by many as an outsider. His background in the Philippines and his leadership style, which was warm and emotionally expressive, were different from the more formal and reserved approach often seen in European church leadership. Some cardinals may have questioned whether his leadership style would fit with the tone and culture of the Vatican. Others may have wondered if he had enough experience dealing with the problems facing the Church in Europe and North America, such as secularism, the role of women, and past abuse scandals. There may also have been concerns about whether he was assertive enough for the role. The Pope is not just a spiritual leader. He is also a world figure who must make difficult decisions, respond to global crises, and stand firm in the face of opposition. Tagle's gentle pastoral style, though beloved by many, may have seemed too soft to some cardinals. They may have wanted a more forceful presence, especially in times when the Church faces so many internal and external challenges. Age might have been another factor. In 2013, when Pope Francis was elected, Tagle was only 55 years old. That is young by papal standards. While a younger pope could serve for a longer time, some cardinals may have seen youth as a lack of experience. They may have felt that someone older, with a longer track record in church governance, would be better suited for the role. There are also cultural factors to consider. Filipino Catholicism is vibrant, emotional, and deeply rooted in family and community. While this is a strength, it may feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable to cardinals from regions where faith is expressed in quieter, more structured ways. Tagle's joyful and emotional sermons, filled with stories and personal reflections, are very different from the formal theological language often used in Vatican settings. These differences, though not negative, may have led some cardinals to wonder whether he would be fully accepted in the Vatican's inner circle. Another challenge is that Cardinal Tagle doesn't fit neatly into the Church's political camps. He is not seen as strictly conservative or liberal. He supports a more compassionate and inclusive Church, but also firmly upholds traditional Catholic teachings. This balance makes him hard to label, which can be a strength, but also a challenge in a conclave where many cardinals are trying to choose someone who clearly reflects a particular direction for the Church. In times of crisis, cardinals may prefer someone with a clearer and more predictable stance. It's also important to remember that in the Catholic view, the election of a pope is not simply a political choice. It is a spiritual one. The cardinals pray and seek the guidance of the Holy Spirit. Even someone who is widely admired may not be the one they feel called to choose at a particular moment. When Pope Francis was elected, he was not seen as the frontrunner. His election surprised many, but he was the one the cardinals believed was the right leader for that time. The same can be said for why Cardinal Tagle was not chosen. Perhaps the time was not right. Despite not becoming pope, Cardinal Tagle continues to play a vital role in the Church. His influence reaches far beyond any title. As head of the Vatican Office for Evangelization, he helps guide the Church's growth in some of the most dynamic parts of the world. His deep love for the poor, his focus on listening and dialogue, and his ability to bring people together make him one of the most respected leaders in the Church today. At 67 years old, he is still considered young by Church leadership standards. Many popes have been elected in their 70s or even 80s. That means Tagle could still be considered in a future conclave. He has time to grow even more in influence and experience. The qualities that make him special, his humility, his global perspective, his compassion, may become even more valuable in the years ahead. What truly sets Cardinal Tagle apart is not just his intelligence or theological training. It is his heart. He speaks to people in a way that feels real. He doesn't try to impress with complicated words or ideas. Instead, he focuses on the simple truths of faith, love, mercy, service, and hope. In a world where many feel distant from religion, Tagle reminds people that the Church can be a place of warmth, comfort, and healing. His background as a Filipino also gives him a unique view of the Church's role in a changing world. The Philippines is one of the most Catholic countries in the world, but it is also a place with deep poverty, political challenges, and a strong sense of community. Tagle brings this experience into his leadership. He understands what it means to live faith in difficult circumstances. This makes him relatable to millions of Catholics around the world, especially those in the global South who often feel overlooked by Church leadership. The Catholic Church is facing big challenges. In many places, fewer people are going to Mass. Scandals have damaged trust. People are asking hard questions about the Church's future. Leaders like Cardinal Tagle, who understand these struggles and respond with kindness, honesty, and courage, may be exactly what the Church needs. Whether or not he ever becomes Pope, his voice will continue to shape the future of the Church. Cardinal Tagle's story also reminds us that true leadership is not about power or titles. It is about service. It is about being a light in dark times. It is about walking with people in their pain, their joy, and their daily lives. That is what Cardinal Tagle does. He may not sit on the papal throne, but he carries the spirit of a shepherd, someone who leads with love, not fear. In many ways, he represents the future of the Church, a future that is more diverse, more global, and more focused on healing and unity.